Jungkook and Jimin aren't as close as they used to be. Reliable source open voice. The shocking news again shook the ARMY community around the world. This time not from wild rumors on social media, but from someone known as a trusted source in HYB's inner circle. People who have worked directly in the BTS management team before the members entered the military. In a closed-door interview leaked to the Korean K-pop elite community forum, the source stated, "Their relationship is not what it used to be. Not that they are hostile, but something has changed. They kept each other at a distance, in a way that only people who were once very close could." Jimin and Jungkook, the two youngest members of BTS, have always had a special bond. Whether on stage or behind the scenes, their interactions always invite smiles and warmth. Moments like Jimin massaging Jungkook's shoulder or Jungkook feeding Jimin backstage are proof of their intimacy that can't even be made up. However, over time, especially since mid-2023, slowly fans began to notice changes. Their interaction is reduced. Even in the content of the last group before the draft, the two were rarely seen talking face to face. The source added, "They don't fight, but they are guarding the border. There's something they haven't finished, something emotional." The old issue that came up again was about the duet project that was planned between Jimin and Jungkook. According to rumors, they recorded several demos together in early 2023, but the project was suddenly canceled without explanation. Many suspect that the difference in creative vision causes tension between the two. The source did not argue, but simply said, "There are projects that make them very excited and also very disappointed." After that, there was an unusual pause in their interaction. While the public wondered, the families of these two idols also felt that something had changed. A close relative of Jimin, in an unofficial interview, said that Jimin was closed off and very moody towards the time of enlistment and often alone in a hotel room during his last solo promotion. Meanwhile, on the part of Jungkook, a childhood friend who is still in communication said, "He used to say Jimin's name, but now he just keeps quiet when we ask him how he's doing. Usually he laughs or tells a story. Now he just smiles a little and then changes the subject." According to K-pop industry observers, this kind of change is no stranger in the world of pressure-packed idols. Very close relationships can be tested by little things: fatigue, differences in career direction, agency expectations, even unexpressed personal anxieties. But what sets Jimin and Jungkook apart is that their closeness isn't a gimmick. That's why, when the relationship looks tenuous, the impact feels so emotional, not only for them, but also for the millions of fans who watched their journey from adolescence to adulthood. However, the source assured that there is no really deep wound. Between the two, they just need time, space, and maybe one honest moment to get back to talking heart to heart. They just need time. Relationships like theirs will not just disappear. It was like a small fire, still burning even though it didn't look bright. In fact, some staff believe that after the conscription period is over, there is a possibility that the two will return to touch the duet song that was delayed, not because of the contract, but because they know it's not done yet. After initial reports of Jimin and Jungkook's estrangement circulated, many in the ARMY hoped the news was just a media misunderstanding. However, time goes on and subtle signals scattered behind the scenes begin to indicate that their relationship is indeed in a fragile period. But still bound together, inwardly point one of the staff in charge of organizing the military activities of the celebrities revealed that although Jimin and Jungkook did not greet each other directly during the joint training session, both of them always show unusual behavior when they are in one room. They don't speak. But when Jungkook comes in, Jimin always shifts his seat slightly, like making room. And when Jimin stood up, Jungkook often looked down briefly, as if to refrain from saying something, said the staffer. These small gestures became irrefutable proof that no matter what was going on between them, there were still strong feelings that could not be simply erased. In an intensive training session in the winter, Jimin had suffered a minor injury to the wrist while doing running maneuvers with weights. At that time, according to a platoon mate's report, Jungkook was the first to reflexively turn his head and half run towards him, but then stopped, as if realizing that he should not be the first to approach. Finally, Jungkook just stood still from a distance, while the medics helped Jimin. But Jungkook's eyes, according to the witness, harbored something deep and inexplicable. A gaze that is difficult to refute as remnants of unfinished cares. A songwriter who worked with BTS in the early days of their career, known as S, made a rare statement on his independent podcast. In one segment, he talks about two members who used to be very close, but now don't greet each other. Without naming names, he said, "Sometimes love between friends is harder than romance. Because you know too much. You're saving too much. And when you're disappointed, the hurt can't be shown because you're afraid of destroying everything you've ever cared about." The statement was immediately attributed by fans to Jimin and Jungkook's relationship because indeed only those who have a record of closeness as deep as that in the past. To their surprise, the sharp-eyed fans discovered that in Jungkook's latest solo song, there are cryptic lyrics that feel like they're referring to someone from the past that he no longer meets, but continues to haunt his mind. "In the quiet hallway, I still hear the laughter that used to make me want to stay longer." Meanwhile, in the last live broadcast session before entering additional training, Jimin had said, "Sometimes I think, if I had more courage to talk, maybe I wouldn't have lost that opportunity." ARMY also believes that the opportunity is not just about a career, but maybe about a person, someone who was once so close and now can only be called through memories. The truth is, no one knows for sure. Even those closest to them can only guess based on small fragments of their interactions. But one thing is certain, a relationship as deep as Jimin and Jungkook's can't just go out. Time passed, and the period of conscription went on. In the midst of the hustle and bustle and harsh discipline of the military, there is one space that cannot be closed, the space of the heart. Even in an environment full of rules like headquarters, a long-held feeling can suddenly arise just because of the familiar sound of footsteps, or a faint piece of song playing from the training radio. A soldier who knew the two said in a low tone, "They are like two people who know each other's hearts, but pretend not to understand each other." Sometimes I see Jimin standing alone staring at the window in the afternoon, and the next day Jungkook seems to be silent longer than usual. They didn't meet, but it was like they were missing the same person. This kind of thing can only happen if two people are ever at each other's most honest point. And now, in a world where words are no longer easy to say, they can only convey everything through silence. In a fan diary that quotes Jimin from 2018, a sentence is written that now feels so relevant. "If one day I'm too quiet, it's not because I don't care, but because I don't want to disturb your heart that may be trying to heal." And Jungkook once wrote in his personal notes that were glimpsed in a BTS documentary, "Sometimes I want to talk, but it's better to wait for the right time than to hurt with the wrong words." They are not two people who forget each other. They are just looking after each other in a way that not everyone can understand. That day may not come today or tomorrow. But if there's one thing that doesn't change in this world, it's that a genuine relationship will always find its way back. Even if you have to go through a storm, even if you have to wait in silence, the ARMY knows that. And maybe they both know. In a world where the spotlight and pressure are always lurking, sometimes distance is the only way they protect each other, even if it means having to stay away from each other for a while, and maybe. As Jungkook once said in one 2020 interview, "If I lose my way, I hope that person will still stand in the same place so that I can return one day." Is this the end of Jikook as it was known all along? No, it's just a phase. A phase experienced by two friends who are looking for direction in the midst of major changes in their lives. Cracked does not mean destroyed. Silence does not mean hate. And moving away does not mean forgetting. If you believe in the power of time and loyalty shaped by years together, then you know, Jungkook and Jimin will never be truly far apart.